welcome to Carp TV. So you join me here on my local club lake. It's my venue of choice for this winter, and it's not somewhere I've fished a lot in the past. I've only ever done a couple of sessions on here before, so it's still pretty new to me. It's not a huge lake, and it's got a reasonable stock of fish, a reasonable number of sort of 20s and a couple of 30s, so no massive fish, but still there's a couple of nice scaly mirrors in amongst them and some lovely looking commons. So I'm going to give it a go this winter anyway, and hopefully get a few. Tonight there's a big storm forecast to come through, so we've got some 50-60 mile an hour winds and some heavy rain, so I'm hoping don't get too wet and hopefully get a few bites. So see what the night brings. I've got about an hour before it gets dark, so need to get the rods set up quickly, get them into position, and get a little bit of bait on them, and yeah, hopefully you'll hear from me next with some fish. Nice chunky one in the net to start off. It's just gone 3:30 in the morning, just had a fish, just a mid double common, so I've just quickly done a little bit of footage of it on the mat. I've just slipped it back, so happy days. First fish of the trip, and hopefully more to come in the morning. Here we are on the my winter water. Nice common to start the evening off. 16.5 pound, no monster, but bites always welcome this time of year. Let's get her back and try and get one of the bigger ones. So you join us next morning. It was proper rough last night. Bivvy was shaking, rain lashing down. I even had the old carp mat across the front of the bivvy at one point, just to give me a little bit of protection from the heavy rain. But around 3:30, one of the rods rattled off and had a nice upper double common in there, so that was a nice little wake up call. Got that rod back out, and then at 5:30 the right hand rod was away, and unfortunately as I picked up the rod, the bobbin dropped to the floor, and then the fish, I think, had swum towards me and somehow had thrown the hook. So one of them really, these things happen. So but even still, it was a good little result of fish on that first night, and these sessions are going to be made up of 2 parts, so I'm going to be doing a quick overnighter like I normally do, and then I'll probably be returning in a couple of days and doing another quick overnighter. So hopefully, if I don't get anything before I have to go to work in a minute, then we'll have a few more to show you later on in the week. So here we are, a lovely low 20 common from my winter water, my little club lake. Gave me a proper good scrap. Just caught this just after first light, and yeah, cracking fish. Hopefully get another one before I have to go to work. Cracker. Let's get back and go and get another. So we just had that cracking low 20 pound common. That was actually off the spot where I caught last week as well, so it's clearly a little feeding area I found there, so I'll continue to fish that over the winter. I think keep sticking at it all the time. It's going to keep doing the odd bite. So yeah, it's not been a bad session really, sort of that one and the others as well, so yeah, been a bit of a result really. Well, that's it for me. I'm back off to work now, so life of an overnight carper, setting up in the dark and then shooting off first thing in the morning back to work. So it's been a great session, had a few fish, and yeah, hopefully catch a few more next time for you. So you join me for the second part of my midweek overnighters. I always do generally 2 nights. So tonight's my second night, and I'm back on my winter water again. So I'm back in the same swim where I had 2 the other night, and see if I can get a couple more. So the winning rig the other day was one of my special hook baits, and I'm tipping it off with some maggots. So what I do is I pull the floss through the bait, got a small swivel on the other side to fish it German style, and then I just take a couple of maggots, thread them on for a sewing needle, probably putting about 10 maggots on, I suppose, about that anyway. I prefer red ones, but you can use whatever colour you want. So you do the maggots like that, they're all on the needle and the floss is going through the needle. Slide them down onto the floss, slide the needle off, put that somewhere safe. Don't want to lose that and accidentally sit on that in the night. So you've got your maggots bunched down on top of the hook bait now, so just tie that off. What I tend to do is I normally tie sort of 3 or 4 of these up at home before I come to the lake. On these quick overnighters, I don't sort of want to mess around, sort of having to do this really generally. Unfortunately I had a missed cast, so I got snagged and I managed to get the rig back, but I lost the hook bait, so I've had to redo one. But yeah, so that's what you end up with. Nice little hook bait with some maggots worming on top. Let's get that on the rig. Fishing the German rig, what I use. Going to put that on there, and hopefully we'll have a couple of nice fish to show you either in the night or first thing in the morning. So I forgot to say, once you got your rig sorted, fishing it sort of German style with your maggots on there, you still got your 2 ends of floss. I don't burn and blob them ends of floss. I'll just get a pair of scissors and I'll nip them down reasonably low, and then you've got that perfect little hook bait. Look at that, what could resist that? So it's 9:30 and I've just had an occurrence, like the bobbin just like whacked into the blank, line started ticking off the reel, went over to the rod, line's still coming off. I've lifted into it and I felt the fish like slide off the line. It's clearly a trailer. It's not the first time I've had that happen here, unfortunately. So the other week it happened 2 or 3 times, so I'm hoping it's not going to keep coming up and down here all night, keeping me awake with false bites. But hopefully the next one's an actual fish. See what happens. I think one of the key things with overnighters, and especially in the winter, is making sure you're organised. So before I leave home, I generally will tie up sort of half a dozen small PVA sticks or bags, depending on if I'm using maggots in the bags, which I do quite a lot in the winter months. But if you're going to use maggots, make sure they're well dusted off, because they will sweat in the bags and you don't want to tie them up too far in advance. And the other thing I do as well is, because I use the German rig a lot, I tie off my hook baits and then I floss on either maggots onto the floss and tie them off so they're ready. So I tend to do 3 of them ready, for 1 for each rod as soon as I get here. Then I also have another sort of half a dozen hook baits tied up with the floss pulled through them. So all I need to do if I get a bite is quickly put on the needle onto one of the bits of floss, thread on sort of 10 maggots, tie a couple of overhand knots, and then I'm back out fishing again really quickly. So rig's all tied, everything. It's you got to be organised on these overnighters. Make the most of the opportunities when them feeding spells come. They're really short in winter, so if you get a bite, quickly unhook the fish in the net, check the hook point, if it's sharp enough, get the fresh hook bait on there and get it back out there with a new PVA stick, because chances are you'll get a bite really quickly again. But if the hooks needs sort of a little touch from the file, give it a little file, and if that's still no good, put a fresh hook link on. It's always important to have a nice sharp hook. Fish don't move as quickly in the winter, they're moving a little bit slower in their feeding, so you want that nice sharp hook to prick as quickly as possible, nail them, and then you're away. So my baiting approach in winter, I tend to use a mixture of crumb, maggots, a few sort of broken chopped baits, Atlantic heat in this case, and I use some particle as well, normally a little bit of hemp and a little bit of sort of tears and maize and maples generally, and I also get some of that sort of particle mix. I'll stick it in the blender, whiz it up so it's like broken up and releasing all the oils and flavours out of the baits, and I mix it up, and I tend to put 2 or 3 spods over each rod. I think that's more than enough. You're just fishing for a bite at the end of the day on overnighters. This time of year you're not going to expect big hits of fish, which you might maybe aim for on a sort of 24-48 hour trip. So it's just after first light and I've had this lovely mid-20 common. Absolute banger. Gave a proper good scrap. Really thick set fish, this one. It's a cracker. Made up with that. Let's have a look at the other side. There she is. Right, she's getting a little bit lively, so let's get her back, see if we can get another one before we have to shoot off to work. So it's come to the end of my session. It's been a great trip really. It's been 2 quick overnighters in between work, one on Thursday night, one on Sunday night, and I've now run out of time. I need to get going and get to work. Sun's come up now and it's getting on for sort of 7:30, and yeah, it's been a good trip. Obviously had that mid-20 this morning just before first light, and Thursday night I had one about 1:30 in the morning, I think it was, mid-double, and then that low 20 as well, which I had at first light. So yeah, it's turning out to be quite a good little winter water so far. I'm really enjoying it, and yeah, hopefully catch a few more and catch a couple of them bigger fish as well. It's been good, and it's been a challenge as well the last couple of nights. It's been dropping below zero, waking up with thick ground frost over the grass and on the nets and mats, etc. So yeah, it's certainly not been easy conditions, but yeah, I caught all my fish recently on the last 2 nights on my little special hook bait with the tip with the maggots, which I showed you last night, and I've been fishing over a little bit of spod mix, a little bit of particle which got some tears, maples, hemp in, and a little bit of maize, and then a good generous helping of the Baitworks Edge pellet. I love that stuff, and some crumbed and chopped Atlantic heat as well. So it's a good mix. I've only been using probably 4 or 5 spoms over the top of the rods. Got 2 rods on one spot and then one just roaming about. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this vlog session, and join me again soon.